is online and on our conference here. We want to say a hearty good afternoon, a hearty good afternoon, a hearty good afternoon to each and every one of you. It's like we're having a little buffing problem here, but I just want to say hi to all my folks on a Sunday afternoon. This is Pastor Julie Reimer with another series of good manners. Get your friends, call up a friend. Come on, come on, get your friends together. This is a good one. This one, you got to get everybody on for this one. Everybody got to be here. It is a good one. Really, really a good one. I was looking to invite some friends because this one here has to have some folks. All right, we need to put some folks up here. We need to get some folks. I was trying to see how to invite some of them, but I can't seem to I can't seem to get some. Anyway, we'll figure this out one of these days when I'm doing a test run. Good afternoon, one more time. Today's session brings you into what we call social graces, and hopefully, we will be able to have some chats on social grace. We'll be able to have some discussion on social grace. Let me just introduce to you a little bit on social grace. And all right, we seem to be having a little challenge with our line. Just give me a minute here. I am not sure what's happening, but it seems to have a little dancing problem here on our website. I'm not sure if Sunday Afternoon Live is having a little challenge. So just bear with me a little bit, and that way we will be able to see what's happening. It looks like it's okay. So hopefully we should be able to get through this. But I'm seeing my screen jumping. So good afternoon one more time. This is Pastor Jay with another edition, another session on our Good Manners series, and it's called Social Graces. The first rule, come on, don't forget, get your pen and paper, get your pen and paper. The first rule is that the person who is highest in authority is mentioned first. Sometimes you go out and sometimes you have to do introductions of someone. And for example, you would go out, and even if you're in a church setting or a personal setting, um, what you would do is that you would be able to probably say, well, and my friends who have come, the rule of thumb or the right way in social grace, good manners, is that you introduce the person who is the highest authority first. For instance, you would say the name of the president before the name of the custodian worker. If position isn't an issue, the oldest person's name is mentioned first. So, for example, if you maybe at a function and there is maybe a senior person, you would be introducing that person first, and then you would introduce the rest of the group. For example, Mom, I'd like you to meet the teenager who mows my lawn. If the ages are similar or not important, the woman's name is mentioned first. Donna, I'd like you to meet Jim. Write that down. We're teaching you social graces, all right? This means you would say, Major Robertson, this is Nancy who lives on State Street. Dad, this is my swimming partner, Dan. Mary, this is Dan. You follow? So you always introduce the group by the oldest person first. And if the person, the highest authority first. And then afterwards, you would introduce, maybe if that's not the case, you'd introduce the oldest person first. And then if the ages are similar or not important, the woman's name is mentioned first. I know they say Adam was born before Eve, but we're just teaching you social graces, okay? I'm just trying to show you what courtesy is. Of course, they always say ladies first. Wouldn't you agree? Ladies first. All right. And so when introducing people, it's always nice to add a personal detail that might help the new friend start a conversation. Remember yesterday we learned a little bit about conversation conversation I'm sorry, conversation courtesies. So that way, like I said, like how we just said, when introducing a man and a woman to someone, you would say, Peggy and Chad Merrihew. Or, like if you're introducing them together, you would say the wife name first and the husband and their last name. I'd like to introduce Christine Ayani, my granddaughter. Then the new acquaintances should shake hands. So you always put a title that puts a connection, or like we said earlier, Dad, this is my swimming partner. By that, you have put a sort of description that may make a conversation starter, may start a conversation, or somebody with similar interests would be able to move forward. To introduce an older person to a child, we're learning a lot of things. I'm learning too. To introduce an older person to a child, Mrs. Whitney, I'd like you to meet Dax Lindsay. Let me say that again, because we seem to lose social graces because now everybody's like, yo, hey, and like people would just yell out Julie, and we have some cultural differences in that, and we'll talk about that shortly. And then we would go, Dax, this is my friend, Mrs. Whitney. She is my neighbor and owns a beautiful collie. So you see, they're making a connection. So that child could probably, maybe that child has a liking for dogs. But did you see how you do that first introduction? You introduce the adult to the child, and then you introduce the child to the adult, and then you introduce the adult to the child. Be friendly and relaxed when making introductions. Say the names clearly. In a group setting, you might want to tell how you know the person. Dax, Chad lives 3 doors from us. So that puts a connection. I know him because he lives near to me. He is my neighbor. He lives just down the street. Hey, this is something we all have had a situation with one time or another. When your mind goes blank. How many of us have never had that happen to us? Have you ever reached someplace and your mind just went like, oops, like, hello, what am I thinking of? So when your mind goes blank, let's see that. One time or another, all of us will draw a blank when we see people and need to introduce them to another person. So what do you do when your mind goes blank? Be honest. And that's what you do. You just be honest. You know, um, so many people sometimes like Pastor T yesterday, I could not remember for the life of me who that woman was calling my name across the thing and calling me Julie. So she had to have known me, but I had a blank. I have no clue. But then again, being in ministry, there are a lot of people who will know you because you are, a public figure, or they may have known me from my corporate life and may remember me from what I've done for them in the past. So you just be honest. I know we've met before and I remember the occasion, but I can't remember your name. And then the person would say, oh, or you could say, oh, hi, I'm Emily. We knew each other a long time ago, or we're both friends of so and so. So you just come right up and I'm Julie. I know we've met before. We're both friends of Tora Daly, but I forgot your name. And so that, because sometimes you spend the whole afternoon just trying to pretend you remember the person and you don't remember diddly. You don't have no clue. And I know some of you may be laughing like my daughter online. Yeah, it's true. Isn't it true? We don't remember where we met that person and we play along until something come up and then we look bad because the person start asking us question and then we say, well, we drew. Now we're really not drawing up a blank. We're blank, blank, blank. We're really blank. And so it's important for us to do that. So I'm sorry, my mind is blank. I recognize your face, but will you remind me what your name is? And we're talking about social graces of, when your mind goes blank, if you just joined us. Another option at a social gathering is to invite another friend into that conversation. Perhaps that person will casually reveal the person's name. Some of us like to, we want to play like we know. So say, come over. Do you remember, and then, we trying to make it look like we know. And that person would say, yes, so, but what if the person is blank too? That's another situation. So it's better to be honest, right? Perhaps that person will reveal the person's name casually in a conversation. For example, if you brought your son into the social circle, you could say, let me introduce you to my son Brad. The person whose name you can't remember will probably introduce himself or herself to Brad. Now, that's a better option, right? Just in case your other friend might have a blank also. So it's very important to really look at these social graces, and then you flow very nicely, and then it would not be of a big issue. Here's what we need to talk about when you are being introduced. When somebody's introducing you, when you're being introduced to someone, ask the person you're meeting to repeat his or her name if you didn't hear it clearly. Just don't shake the hands and say, glad to meet you, and you did not remember the person clearly. I think it was at the beginning we said to repeat the name, right? And so if you didn't hear it clearly or you didn't catch the pronunciation, by having them, excuse me, I didn't quite hear your name. They repeating it, you'll get an opportunity to hear the name again. Again, we're just teaching you social graces, how to, walk like a swan and do your flamingo, when you go out there. All right. So if you meet someone you haven't seen for a long time, help the person by giving your name. Hello, I'm Julie Reimer. Or hello, I'm Geneva Lawrence, or I'm Melanie Milligan, or I'm Tora Daly, right? And so it's so very important that we introduce and give the person the opportunity. Just think of yourself, how you probably was a little uncomfortable not knowing their name. And so you could just say, we met last year at the fundraiser for Women of Vision, or we met last year at the Women's Retreat in Frederickstead, and that gives you a conversation starter. All right, and so we welcome all those who just joined in, and then that way, if someone approaches you in this way, take a cue that that person may not remember your name and reintroduce yourself as well. So it's very important that we kind of tune in. And this information is so vital because remember, we're in quarantine right now and we're going to go out. And some of us, because we're being in for 2 months and for longer, we may not, we may draw some blanks because that quarantine thing have a lot of people under stress. This quarantine, stay home while we're learning good things and we pray over our minds in the name of Jesus. But, all of that, allows us to get, to have our graces in check. All right. So that way, if someone comes up and say his or her name to you, this is your cue to return the favor. So Sister Jenny, when, the person comes up and say, well, hello, I'm Empress Maureen Harrigan, and I'm just calling on my beautiful sisters' names that I see there. I'm Empress Maureen Harrigan. That tells you that, hey, y'all have met before, but she's telling you her name. So use it as a cue and says, oh, yes, I remember you. I am Geneva Lawrence. Yes, I remember. We did meet at Pastor Reimer's women's retreat last year at Pastor Stora's church. So you see, you have not only helped them with your name, you've given them Pastor Julie Reimer name in case they forget Raina, Arena, or whatever her name was. And then you also let them know that the person whose church you were at, because they met Pastor Tora before, was Pastor Tora. So now you've given that person a whole heap of names to remember. You see, social graces. All right, so that's very good. We're looking at the other one, and I know right now in COVID-19, we're not shaking hands because we want to protect each other. And I told y'all yesterday that I love you, but I don't want to affect you, and I don't want, the transmittal. I want you safe until this is over. So we're not shaking hands, right? But a confident handshake speaks volumes. So, like sometimes people shake your hand and you wonder, like, hello. Or they shake your hands to break off your whole shoulder. Social graces is our conversation today. Firm handshake communicates confidence, goodwill, and interest and courtesy. Because you shake that person's hand, looking them in the eye, and it's like an affirmation that, hey, I'm happy to meet you. I'm interested in you. It wasn't just like, hey, and then, have you ever had some of those shake hands in church? Oops, zip up. Okay, I'm done. I didn't mean to go on that bus. But we're talking social graces, Julie. But, people have shaken hand and they were like looking somewhere else and a flimsy little handshake without any interest in your conversation or just because somebody, they're trying to be polite. But social graces are asking you to give a firm handshake, a confident one that speaks volume, one that will say that, okay, that, I'm interested in what you have to say. I'm with you, and all of the likes. All right, so we're good to go. Let's look at the other thing now. Again, if anybody wants to share anything, hi, Lady Perry. God bless you. Good to have you on. And Lorna Lawson, again, like I was saying, share this video. We've been doing a good manners series as we're shut in and quarantined. So, we had some great times, and I was only doing one, but even today I wanted to sleep some, and one of them called, aren't you coming on at 3? So I had to get dressed up and just to be here for you. So thank you. We had the heart of manners, we had gracious entertaining, and yesterday we had conversation courtesies, and today is social graces. It's just a few little things. Every day we do it on Saturday afternoons and Sundays, and because in the week I'm a little tied up, and maybe I'll do an evening one. Who knows? And we have some exciting news for you. Stay tuned at the end of this. There's some exciting news for you. Social graces. All right, quarantine don't stop anything. We're quarantined to get better. We're quarantined to get healthy. We're quarantined to learn some new skills. I'm seeing some cooks and chefs coming out of the woodworks. Oops, I went on that bus. All right, so we talk a little bit about, when we do that, the handshake has lost some of its emphasis in casual contact. And like I said, I know we're not doing it now. I'm not telling you to go out there and be socially graceful and start shaking people's hands. All right. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait through the pandemic. All right. But it's still used in business and formal settings. And of course, in church, we always shake our brothers and sisters. We hug and we kiss. And this is a starvation time for me because I love hugs and kisses. And so, I know I'm gonna get a lot when this is over. All right. So, whether it's an accurate reflection or not, a limp handshake is often interpreted as saying the person is indecisive and weak willed. For example, if you go for a job interview and, the hand is extended and you just shake very limp, very, like a limp handshake, you're saying, like, oh my God, you're showing your fear, you're showing insecurity, you're showing that, I'm not sure, why should I hire you? You don't want to come out like you're a wimpy person, right? And so a firm handshake will do it. Whether it's an accurate reflection or not, whether it's not the truth, you may be just anxious, maybe you have wet palms and you don't want to have, a person hold you too long. Whatever the purpose is for your limp handshake, it will send a message either true or not. So we're asking you to mind that. And it's often interpreted as saying the person is indecisive and weak. So let's talk about what's a proper handshake. Anybody want to talk about that? Okay, so write your notes. What's a proper handshake? So here's what they're saying. You can practice. Hold your right hand out with your finger together and your thumb raised. Come on, everybody, practice a firm handshake. You stick out your hand. Come on, your right hand out. Some of you may be left handed, but put your right hand, and your right hand is your right hand. Whatever hand is your right hand. Oh, I like that. So you stick out your right hand. Are you with me? Come on, everybody on my conference line and you out there. Stick out your hand, put your fingers together, and your thumbs raised. That shows right there a positive position, right there. Are you with me? All right, you are out there. Be firm in your grip, not too hard or not too soft. Keep your hand firm throughout the motion. All right? Okay, so now we go and then you hold the person. Yes, nice and firm with eye contact. Thank you, Lady P. All right. Don't make a face if the other person squeezes you too hard. Like, someone's, don't do that. Just try and grin and bear it and slide your hands out because you really want to really show out what you're really doing. So, okay, you have that out there. Firm grip. I like that. I like that, Minister J. And then you get a firm grip, not too hard, not too soft. Don't make a face if a person squeezes too hard, has a limp handshake, or feels clammy. Something like, don't do that. That's not socially graceful. All right. High fives and knuckles are only for people you know very well. Don't go bumping people. I know now everybody's bumping and everybody's knuckling and high five. You don't know them. It is not socially graceful to high five a person who you are just meeting for the first time. I mean, yes, that's how we do it in the hood. That's why we do it in the island, man, and that's how. But you're going to a function and he sure does. He sure does, Minister J. When Bishop get a hold and those hugs he give you could suffocate you too. Ooh, yeah, we learn in social graces, and so it's a good thing. So stick with the traditional handshake for most occasions. When being introduced to a woman, that's a very vital point right there. When being introduced to a woman, wait until she offers her hands. How many of you got that wrong when we did the assessment? And Sister Richards, I see Sister Richards online. She's on my conference line. And so, hi, conference people who just came on, and hi to all my wonderful viewers. Thank you for taking time out with Pastor Jay this afternoon in Good Manners Etiquette series. It's going to be a few sessions of some great stuff. If you miss any, go back to the videos. You'll see them. They're fun. They're great. They're wonderful. They're important. All right. When we come out of quarantine, we will all be walking like swans, our flamingo attitude and our swan grace. Like that. All right. Right, Lady P? We're going to be so fine. Yeah. Well, they will know what to do with us. All of these swan walking women and this gracious looking men. And oh, God have mercy. Oh, Jesus. I can't wait. All right. So when you see a woman, gentleman, or whatever, don't stick out your hand and try to grab her. Wait till she extends her hand with that firm look, that thumb in the air. Come on now, straight out, same fingers together, and the thumb in the air. And then you express, and then you extend your hand to her. All right. So practice shaking hand with someone or reach out to shake hands the next time you meet someone. So, Minister J, you and Lady Susan, just practice. I know y'all probably get this, but why don't we have an afternoon of a shaking hand? Bishop ain't here, so I can't really practice with him. But I love to do activities, you know me. So come on, get your shake out there. Find somebody who's in the house with you and get your shake. I'm gonna do a virtual shake with you. All right, I'm extending my hand, thumb in the air. Ooh, looking you straight in the eye, giving you that genuine smile. Come on, Sister Richards, let's do this virtually. Shake my hand, Sister Rich. Ooh. And then you let that person go. Note how it feels and what you discern from the gesture. What did you feel when you shook that person's hands? All right, help them, yes. What did you feel when you shook that person's hand? All right. Hopefully, it will help you to start a conversation or meeting with more confidence. Sometimes a good handshake, I've heard people when they say, oh, wow, that's a great handshake. And then you start a conversation, even in a little simple handshake can be a conversation piece. And that's why it's important whether you nervous like anything else and you're sweating in your pants, they don't need to know. Just let your handshake speak your confidence. All right. I'm teaching you social graces today. All right. So that's the handshake piece. Are you ready? Can you go there? I said to practice, get one of your children or get your honey or whoever's in the house with you, or just try virtually like I just did with Sister Richards. All right. Okay. Now, this is an important piece. We're learning social graces. When something embarrassing happens, we're human. This little book, like everybody, it's a little book of manners. It was a little book that I had, a while back, and we've been trying to do this in an etiquette class. And I found it's a little book that can fit in your purse, and it's very good. It's Good Manners in Minutes, Quick Tips for Every Occasion by Emily Barnes. So you can Google it up and probably get that book. It's a nice thing to do with your women or, just between your family. And like I said, get the family together. We're learning manners in the quarantine time. So when we get out, ooh, when we have our first out, we wouldn't act, we would laugh because we haven't been to restaurants in our I really like, no, we're going to get out gracefully because we've been practicing at home. We're going to have some virtual setting the table. Don't forget, stay tuned. I want you to dress up the table and learn to put the fork the right way, facing a certain way. And when you finish eat, how you're going to put your knife up. Because when we get out, we're not going to look like we were like away from civilization. We're going to go out there looking good and doing the right things. All right? Come on. Yeah. You can get a sense of demeanor from a handshake. I so agree with you. Yes. You can also tell how that person is feeling, or even some attitudes. You can tell if that person is very arrogant, like the way they push you off. Handshake speaks so much. It can speak volumes. I'm with you. Thumbs up on that, Minister John. That is so really true. You can also tell if that person has some insecurity. It can even talk, lead you to say, well, how are you feeling? How are you really feeling today? A handshake, I have, from a handshake, especially if that person has always been giving you, really, yeah, handshakes. All right. So great point there. Um, so we're human. When something embarrassing happens, we're human. Things will happen. There are times that, we won't always say our right eyes will be out of place, the I, the me, and the you, and the yours, and spinach may be in your teeth and all kinds of embarrassing moment. Maybe you might, on your high heels, shake or break a heel, or, your shoe heel might come off. Something embarrassing happens, or your zipper might be open. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, embarrassing things happen. So that means that there will be times when embarrassing situations will happen. So let's review some common ones, and how you can respond to them. All right. So the first one is yawning. Oh, like you were right though. You said a word and you want to yawn, or the yawn that goes around and everybody catches it. Yeah. So when a yawn is coming on in the middle of a conversation, place your hand over your mouth and say, please excuse me. So come on now, we're getting a yawn. Oh, please excuse me. I'm enjoying our conversation, but I didn't get a good night's sleep last night. Please excuse me. Don't make the person feel like, oh my goodness, you're so boring, or what you have to say isn't important. So kindly put your hands over your mouth. Come on, practice. Put your hands over your mouth. You feel a yawn is coming. Put your hands over your mouth and say, now don't make, now I'm not asking you to go down to town with that yawn now. All right. So just kindly put your hands over your mouth. Yes, you're doing a good job. Great. And just say, please excuse me. I didn't have a good night's sleep last night, or I got up very early. I had a telephone call that interrupted, bad news or something like that. And, don't make excuses, but just give a short brief. Remember, we talked about yesterday, not too much. You don't put out your whole guts. You just make it very precise. All right. What about the rumbling stomach? Have you had that embarrassing moment in the middle of and the kind that everybody hears, even those who you were not speaking to, the person behind you is like, whose stomach is this? Now they might say, oh my goodness, she came to this, or he came to this function to get some food. You haven't been eating. Okay. So that's an embarrassing thing that may happen, but this is how you deal with it. If you can ignore it, do so. Just pretend like it's not, if you can, right? However, if those around you can also hear your hunger pangs, say, it must be close to my lunchtime or mealtime. Or at least say, my stomach thinks so. My stomach may think that it's close to mealtime. Sometimes you just eat and you're greedy too. So make sure that it's a light and polite conversation. Thank you, Sister Lorna. It's good to have you on, girl. Invite some friends. If you think this is great for you, invite others. All right. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you're on. I know sometimes we're glad for quarantine because we know that you're a very busy woman too. So thanks for spending the afternoon with us. What about hiccups? Yeah, if your stomach is red, don't hold your belly and start to like, with the stomach thing and oh God, I really hungry. The speech so long, and when you go to a wedding, man, all these bridesmaid, father of the groom, father of the bride, Lord have mercy. You should have eat something or drink some hot tea before you go. But in the event, well, at the conference, and something is a little thing. Just my stomach. Oh, excuse me, just don't mind my stomach. My stomach's just fine because like for some of us, we eat a certain time and maybe the worms know that so politely, social gracefully, we will say, um, it must be close to lunchtime. At least my stomach thinks so. Make light of it. And that's what we talk about the light humor yesterday when we talk about conversation and courtesies, right? Conversational courtesies. All right. So the hiccups, excuse yourself for a minute, go to the restroom or a private room. Try to take some deep breathing. So, like this guy, it's a little annoying, especially if you're in a function that is people are trying to listen. Excuse yourself. I know the church finger up in the air, but a polite excuse me, and then you excuse yourself. I'm sorry, let me just drink a little water so that I don't bother you with the after speaking a while, speakers get a little dry throat. All right, so thank you. Try taking some deep breaths. Take a drink of water like I just did. And repeat as needed until they subside. Right now, I don't have the hiccups, but I have a little, right? So, all right, until they subside. Now, this embarrassing moment is this one is called bad breath. Use fresh breath fresheners. If you know you have a little issue, don't try to like hi, and you know what I'm saying. Use breath fresheners before you meet with others. Pop that mint. Pop that little breath freshener. Some of us, we're not, we're not all there, and sometimes you just probably had a bad lunch, or you're at the conference all day and you had something to eat, like especially when you see all those, the garlic mushroom stuff, and you didn't walk with your toothbrush, and or you may have a little situation that needs tending to. If someone offers you a mint in a crowd, it might be a signal that your breath reflects the garlic you had last evening. Accept the mint and say thank you. I know sometimes it's embarrassing, and some of you very fast. Don't embarrass the person by saying you want two mints. Be polite about it and be nice. So accept the mint and say, oh, thank you. You can even throw in like, I really was looking for, thank you so much. Maybe the person didn't smell it, but they know they ate too and they gave you. So say, accept it and say thank you. All right. Sneezing or coughing. Well, this one is funny, right? Because right now, nobody want to hear you sneeze or cough. Even if you had a sneezing or cough, you have allergies. Once you start to cough, people will be running. I mean, in this COVID time, this is funny, I mean, I'm making light of it because this is a very serious epidemic of pandemic because we've lost some really close loved ones, and I'm not making light at all. But I'm saying, like, for those of us, like right now, I speak a lot. I've been doing a lot of session, even with my job. We do a lot of Zoom meetings. So you will find that my throat is dry and I'm a little horsey. I've been preaching, virtually doing everything. So of course, for people like me who speak a lot, our throat. So every now and then we'll be coughing. Right now, there's some construction going on in my house, and there's concrete and dust, and I might be a little sneezing. But to those of you who don't know that, you'll be taking off running. Having said all this, all right, having said all this, um, at the first sign of that tingle or tickle in your throat, cover your nose and mouth with a napkin. All right. So right now people are wearing masks, and we're asking you also to walk with your napkins or your bandanas. And even in public, when this pandemic is over, it's also not just for the pandemic. It's also common courtesy, because sometimes oops might come out your nose, a little droplet, a little something might run down. So always have a napkin in your purse, ladies, men, your hankies, and always cover your nose and your mouth with a napkin or a handkerchief. All right. Or like they said, the crook of your arm in the middle there on your hands, and to prevent germs getting on your hands, because a lot of times what we do, we sneeze in our hands, and we sneeze, spit, nose, everything in that hand, and that's the same hand you're going to pick up your bread, tuck it in your mouth. That's the same hand you're going to shake somebody else's hand. Hello, no, we don't want to be spreading any germs. All right. So if you feel a tickle or whatever, immediately get your hanky or your kerchief, turn your head to the side, or get your crack of your arm ready for that sneeze. And you don't sneeze in the person's face. You know how many people are like, chum, chum, and just sneeze right in front of your face. turn your head away from the crowd or away from the food. Can you imagine somebody sneezing and you're in a buffet line? My goodness, what would you do now in COVID 19? I know you'd be scattering, right? But even before COVID-19, we didn't pay close attention to stuff like that. That's why sometimes you go to a function and when you go, you come back, everybody got the cold, everybody got the flu. So even before COVID-19, it's just really social graces, right? So after sneezing, say, please excuse me, go wash your hands or use hand sanitizers as soon as possible. And you see, COVID-19 was not wrong when they wrote this book. So it's also great etiquette and good social graces. All right. So the other one we have here is accidents at the table. It's embarrassing to knock over a beverage or spill food from a serving dish. I know it has happened to us, and some people have had accidents with hot items or hot beverages, tea, coffee, or your food plate fell over your hand or your purse. You know, that big purse you brought along or that cell phone, you hit the water pitcher. This happened, all right? But then again, it's an embarrassing moment. Let's see what to do. Use a napkin as soon as possible to mop up the table until the waiter or the person next to you off. Because you know sometimes it's running, you just watching it drip over the whole thing. Stop it with your napkin. You can always get another napkin, or if you have tissue in your bag, just try to avoid it running over until you get the attention of the waiter, waitress, or whoever, wherever you are, or the host if you are at someone else's house. So to avoid further or the dishcloth if you're in a person's house until the waiter comes next to offer help. If it's at a good friend's house, you can jump up and grab some paper towel or the dishcloth or to avoid further to absorb the spillage and to avoid it running maybe on the person's furniture, on the chair that probably has light covering and doesn't have a plastic, so that you can protect the other person's property. There are so many times we go out and we treat people's house like when you leave, they like have to go and buy a whole set of furniture. I don't want to get into any specifics, but we need to learn to have some social graces, not because that's how you act at home. When you go out, you should bring that grace I know that we're not asking you to pretend to be who you're not, but imagine just like how you'd go to church. You don't sprawl out on your couch on the church chair like you would. One of the things that tickles me, I have to say, for a lack of I'm trying to use a nice word, people who come and just prop their two leg on my coffee table. Hello. That's a no. But we're going to talk about that in another session. All right. But if the food or liquids get on the floor, immediately notify your host so the carpet of flowing won't get stained. The sooner we get to it, the faster we are able to take care of it or to take care of any spillage or further damaging. Because it's really a little discouraging sometimes when you have guests over, and that's why people say, well, I'm not inviting nobody else, because by the time they leave, you have to go to Kmart to buy back your crystals. They broke all your glasses. So when you go out there, it's important for you to be, have social grace so you can bring good etiquette to the table. I'm not saying that you're not good. I'm just saying, if we can imagine all of us who are doing these virtual sessions, like I said, all I'm seeing is like, you see like now how you see everybody with their mask and their gloves and, staying away. It's like you're going to see people in the supermarket. You'll be watching and seeing a lot of swans and, some might be ostriches, but we'll see a lot of swans. Hopefully it's gracious swans. All right. So let's keep it there. All right. And I'm saying this in love. All right. And so we want, if the food or liquids get on the floor, immediately notify your host so that the flooring or the carpet wouldn't get stained. Don't keep apologizing. After the incident, apologize and move on. Sometimes I've been there. Like, you want to say you're sorry so much, especially if you broke something. It's like, I'm so sorry. The whole evening is on that topic. Apologize, be sincere about it, but don't spend the whole day. It's annoying when people apologize. I'm sorry. Because all of a sudden you're starting to make me remember that you just broke my stuff. Or you just messed up my carpet. I have to call the carpet cleaning guy. So you have to think about these things before you do, before you continuously apologize. Don't keep apologizing. Let the disruption, keep the disruption as low key as possible. You don't want to put that in the person's face all the time. All right. Especially if you threw something on somebody's outfit, they are trying to hang into the rest of the event, and you're reminding them of the mess, and so and ladies, I know sometimes the flow messes our dress. Man, you may have an incident, and different things. Just keep it low key. Apologize. Hopefully, the people who are genuine and truly gracious individuals who also have table etiquette and who also know social graces will begin to appreciate. It's okay. You'll be all right. We're here. Just sit right there. Sometimes they offer you, to go get your food. I mean, again, when we learn all these other things, we will all bring that to the conversation, the event, the social event, and we'll all be great individuals, right? Right? And this is a good afternoon, a good session. If you're liking it, let me know. All right. All right, so we're gonna look at the last session to this, which to social graces, those awkward moments. How many of us have had those awkward moments? How many of us have just been like, again, post your comments if you want to speak and you're on the conference. Put your hands up, *5. I'll give you an opportunity if you want to share in any of the discussion that we have. I'm going to do the last part, and then I'll take your comments, and then we'll say, all right. Those awkward moments. Have you experienced moments when you're not sure how you're supposed to respond or act? I know, one of my girlfriends, my girl daughters, and I were talking earlier that, how do you act? You don't know how to act. We talked yesterday about how to accept compliments and how to give compliments, and when humor is appropriate and when humor is not appropriate. All right. But what about those awkward moments when you really just don't know what to do? When you really just, I'm not sure. I really am not sure about this, so let's look at that. Those awkward moments, to hug or not to hug, well, again, we know in COVID, no hugging except your close people that ain't gone nowhere. So, or your little pet. But when do I hug a person? Because sometimes for me, I'm a hugger. Our culture, when we meet our family members, we hug and we kiss and we dribble all over you. Some cultures, hey, you're looking good. And we touch other parts. I know I'm not recommending that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't be modest about this. Auntie come over and she said, whoa, you're looking healthy here. They meet your little girl and they say, last time you were flat chest, now you have some skin, and we know the culture and we know the fresh perverts too. So you know what I'm talking about. All right. So, when do you hug or when do you not hug? If the person is a relative, all right, or close friend, it's perfectly okay to gently hug. If you're being introduced for the first time, hold off on the hug unless the other person indicates one is acceptable. Like, can I get a hug? Sometimes just asking. Or, you can't just hug everybody. Like, the huggers. We have this topic too, the huggers, all the huggers. All right. And so if they say it's acceptable, then you go off fort and hug. Otherwise, extend your hand for a shake and say, hello, I'm glad to meet you. Again, we know how to stick it out. Firm handshake, thumb in the air, straight up. And we know that we need to make it not too hard, not too soft. I'm sorry, excuse me again. All right. You see I have my little corner here, so don't affect anyone but me. All right, and then we sanitize. So don't go writing on my post that I coughing and all of that and sneezing on anybody. I made sure I quarantine even my little office. All right, so this is my space. Bishop, don't come here. He have his corner on the other side down yonder. All right, so good to go. All right. So for women, if you're meeting a business colleague or client with whom there is a genuine friendship, then it's okay to greet with a light and quick hug. Don't make this thing holding on and like, oh God, you feel good. Yeah. Oops, I just went on that bus. All right. So let's move on. So we know now when it's appropriate to hug and those awkward moments when you're not sure, You wait till the person offers it, or that, is it okay? You ask a question, or you do a brief pat, a halfway hug. Or, some people in church don't like to hug. Don't really mess with them. Right now in this quarantine, people don't want you to get near them. Respect. And so that's social grace when it comes to hugging. Right? Let's have lunch together. Those awkward moments. Don't offer this suggestion if you don't mean it. People are just asking, like, one of these days we should have lunch. And you know very, very well that you ain't going no lunch. You ain't got no money, you ain't got no bus, you ain't got no truck, you ain't got no ride, you ain't got nothing. Don't offer it if you know you're not going to do it. All right. So, but if you do mean it, be sure to follow up in a few days and get the lunch date on your calendar. So if you tell a person, right, that let's do lunch or something, let's meet, for a drink or a cup of coffee or a refreshing conversation, let's meet for some ice cream. Make sure you follow it up. Because people say, I thought you said we were going to do lunch. And up to now, they haven't heard from you. You haven't called. You haven't followed up. Hello. Social graces, make sure you follow up. All right. And so that's what it is. So if you do mean it, follow it, and let's call the person up, a few days, couple days later, not text them. Call them up because I'm sure you may have exchanged numbers. It is common courtesy. Remember what we talk about, how you invite a person in our first session and how you get to discuss it with them. Call them up and then say, let's see, how's your calendar? Or, the email calendar thing that you have agreed, whatever you agree to do, make sure that you follow up. That's social grace, all right? Watch your language. Got you on that one. Even if you don't cuss, watch your language, all right? Be sensitive to those around you. Who is the person that's in your company? Some people have no brought up in their mouth and they're good in other areas except in their mouth, and they need to learn some social graces when it comes to their language. And their language foul or their language sarcastic, and all these criticism conversation. I'm getting tight tongue, but y'all know what I mean. Don't be trying to mess with this now. Okay. Don't be disrespectful to people by using improper language. Off-color jokes and four-letter words are never appropriate. And we're not talking about soap and stuff like that. All right. And so they offer, yes, namesake, woman of God, girl. They offer a lot of things. We can do lunch, so I can help you. Sometimes you offer something, and then they would. And when you say what's your language too, even your body language can speak. Your body language speak to what you don't say. Because you could tell a person a four-letter bad word by like with the action. All right. And we have the hand symbols and all of these other things. Watch your language, spoken orally or verbally or whatever you want to say, or handly or attitudely or bodily. Watch your language. All right. Social graces. If you're out there and you're going out and especially color jokes. We talked about that yesterday. Don't be calling people by their culture. You Puerto Rican girl, you island girl. No, I got me a name my mama gave me. I may not like my first name all the time when I was younger. I got me a name. Right, namesake? All right, I got me a name. And people love the sound of their name. I know some people who don't appreciate it, but we're going to do a session again on the name thing. And I'll tell you how special it is for you to be unique by your name. That's another subject, all right? And so we'll talk about that another time. So yes, Julie, my namesake, woman of God, Jewel girl. We've been doing this series on good manners, just in case you need good manners, a little book of quick tips for every occasion. And I decided that we were gonna do a manners. I love you, girl. We're going to decide to do manners. So when we come out of quarantine, we'll all be walking in the supermarkets and at our job like swans, so gracefully. And, people might think we're arrogant, but because we came from this session and we learned some good, gracious skills. All right. And so, off-color jokes and four-letter words are never appropriate. This one coming up, my goodness, my people will tell you that that's where I have to have you pray for me. I need prayers on this one. Be on time. I'm going to stand up on this one. Jesus, I'm gonna stand up on this one. This one I cause fast and besides it's my time to get a break. I normally take a break. Yes, I have my military. Oops, sorry. I have my military. That was an embarrassing moment. I was just trying to get my skirt together, but that's okay. I didn't reveal too much. Let's pass that. I'm sorry. I already apologized. We're moving on. I'm taking my own lesson from this. Hallelujah. Glory to God. Whew, I had a moment. And so this thing about being on time, that's my thing. I do not believe in crucian time, island time, people time. I believe in Eastern Standard Time, Atlantic Standard Time. I believe in o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Not tell me 10 to come for 11 and 12. Hello. I just like American Airlines. You're not here to check in before and go to TSA. We're going to start and go without you. Too many people have sabotaged, and I know I'm getting spiritual and emotional and passionate, and this is not in the book, but I have to put that one out there because we need to stop it. We need to cut it out and stop it. It starts at 9, not 10 and 9:45. When you come, like right now, I think my brother them taught me this. There are people who come to different parts and portions of the service. I can understand that. Maybe you didn't want to be for Bible study because you didn't study your Bible quarterly. And maybe you didn't want to come for prayer meeting because, you know, you didn't want to come for prayer meeting because, you didn't want to talk to God about some of the things that's going on in your life or whatever. You decide to come to worship service. And you didn't decide to come to worship service. You decide to come at the end so you can put your tithes and offerings or to greet somebody else. Ouch, I went there. I went there. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. And so you decide to come for that session of the service. It's okay. But you can't come late for all the different sessions because then, you're confusing me. I don't know what session you came for. Now, let's go to work now. These same people who don't miss the airplane, don't be late at work. Don't be late at work, but don't miss to be on time for melee. They don't be okay. I'm sorry, we're talking about manners. Let's get back to this. Be on time. Being late shows disrespect. That's a passionate. That's I told you from the beginning. I put that disclaimer out there that that's a sensitive subject. That's a subject I don't like. I don't like it. That is disrespectful to keep people waiting. You have a meeting sometimes and people don't call, they don't show up, they don't call, and they walk in with an attitude, so you don't tell them anything. They vex before they get you. You're supposed to be offering the prayer for people to eat, and you coming after they don't eat. Bless the food. Come on, come. You're supposed to do the opening remarks, and you're going to come at the end remarks. You're going to come for the benediction instead of the opening. Hello, somebody. Ouch. Just accept it and repent, all right? And change your ways. Okay? And so love me through this. I told you got to love me. There's some things that but again, we're going to walk out like swans. We're going to be so nice. Our shoulders will the thing, our breasts wouldn't sag and our necks will be thin. We wouldn't need a chiropractor because we're swans. We're just graciously wonderful. No, you're loving me. And so being late and keeping people late. When you're late because you didn't manage your time well. Some people they have to go out early in the morning, but you want to hang out in the night. You cannot expect to go to work on time on Monday morning when you're at every panda beating, going home at 3 o'clock, and expect the good Lord to wake you up on time when you're drunk or when you did not sleep. All right. And I also I think it's a disrespect to the host if the person has woken up, they woke up early and they put so much into this. As I have a pet peeve with people who don't RSVP, who needs to RSVP. But I also have a situation, and it's part of the book. We'll talk about RSVP soon. There's some people who know they're not going up anywhere. They wouldn't call, they wouldn't tell you anything. And that person, you know how much I had to pay for mahi. And when I went home, I said, I think they tricked me. $28 for 6 little piece of mahi. It was good though. But I'm saying, my God. So can you imagine me buying mahi for you and cooking up? Yes, I can put it up in the fridge, but you know me, I'm a vegetarian by nature. And so your host may have had, a certain budget. But all that food going to waste, yes, we can feed the homeless. And I can hear some of you saying, well, you just gave it to the homeless. But you, the person who has been the offender, needs to change their ways. Time is time. So what you need to do is to make sure that you plan accordingly. I always know when I was working at corporate, I always know what I'm gonna wear. Imagine this week we have this thing coming up. Me and my daughter was already on the phone. I sent her pictures that this is what I'm gonna wear. My skirt and my blouse already on a side ready. And I can hear you, oh, Pastor Reimer, what if you change your mind? No. The way I live, at this stage of my life, let me tell you, sometimes we put stress on ourselves unnecessarily. Plan your thing, 2 weeks in advance, 2 months, for example, that this thing was coming next year. I've been done tell you, and I know that's bad English. I just want this to be relaxed. I don't want to be sitting up there preaching to you. I preach enough. I want to have a conversation with you on this topic about social graces. All right. So just love me through it. I warned you from the beginning. It's going to be sweet and sour, but you're going to be a swan. All right. I can't wait to see you coming out. And so when you look at this, when you're late because you didn't manage your time, you're essentially telling people your time or your goals are more important than theirs. And that's disrespectful. And some of the reasons that people give me for being late does really want almost make me lose the grace of God. But thank God for grace and mercy. And thank Him for the salvation of my soul. And because I put my helmet on, my mouth stays shut. Sometimes a little attitude show, and I've gotten better, but the excuses get me more bothered than the fact that you're late. Because some people are very disrespectful with their lateness stuff like, at least I come. Better late than never. Oh, brother, don't you tell me that one. Because I'll tell you, better late than never. So never come back. Oh, Jesus, I didn't say that. I didn't mean it. But, better late than never, really? I could have stayed home because, I have a pet peeve and I tell my people all the time, if you told me you were coming at 2, I could have washed the dishes, spend a little more time in bed with my husband in the morning, hug him up a little bit, get a little more snooze and, stop a little bit. And while you were probably doing that, or you wash your whole laundry, I could have washed my laundry. And then we would meet at 2. Don't tell me 10 o'clock. And then you come in 2 o'clock and expect me to be, hey, how you doing? Come on, let me hug you. Long time no see. No, not better late than never. We need to stop that. That is not socially graceful. That is not polite. Stop it. When you come out of quarantine, no more. Take that one off of you and learn to be on time. All right? And so as we look at this, if being late is unavoidable, contact the person who's waiting for you as soon as possible. Explain the situation and offer to reschedule or give your estimated time of arrival. It's just simple as that. It's not as hard as we think it is. It's just as simple as that. Make that phone call. Your boss is waiting for you. You have the keys so that the business can operate in a certain way. A simple phone call. I'm sorry, I should be there in another 15 minutes, especially if you know somebody's waiting for you. If you're doing an interview and you're late, my goodness, there's a big accident. And by the way, you should have left home in case of an accident. You should be waiting for the people time to open and not they waiting for you. That's another class. All right. And so, in all of this, we share this afternoon. This is just a few. And we have something in the end that says the hardest job kids face today is learning good manners without seeing any. That I want to put into your heart is that because we expect our children to learn good manners, but our example are so not so good. How about that? What do you think about that? And then we got the nerve to say, I wonder where he or she got it from. You. That's where they got it from. They've been seeing you getting up every day and going to work late. They've been seeing you going to church late. They've been seeing you missing your flight. They've been seeing you missing the bus. They've been seeing you. So don't be bothered saying where did they get it from. Again, let me read it for you. Write it down. And I'm gonna say it properly so you can get it. The hardest job, kids, and I like to say children because my sister don't like people to say kids. The hardest job the hardest job children face today is learning good manners without seeing any. Isn't that true? And so I just thank you for listening to Pastor Jay today. We stayed within our hour. It's 59.44 because we started a little late. Again, not exactly 3 o'clock, a little tech problem and a little, getting together here. But let us be great examples for those we want to follow us. For the young ones that we have coming up after us, those we are mentoring, let us be prime and examples to those who we have looking up to us. I trust that social graces to you have really been a good way to spend an afternoon, a good hour spent. Well, would you say that? If you feel so, just post me a little comment here. Let me know. Spread this video. And for those of you wonderful ones on my conference line, if you would stop by and just let me know which area stood out for you, whether it was the introduction, when your mind goes blank, when you're introduced, our confident handshake. Don't forget, let's practice that handshake again. Stick it out, all fingers together, thumb in the air. Come on, grab that hand. Shake it firmly, not too tight and not too soft. Let's have that handshake. And the hugs, remember, it's lightly unless it's family. All right, anybody have any comments? I would love to get your feedback, if any. All right, remember also, accidents happen. There are embarrassing moments, and there are times these awkward moments will come. And most importantly, let's look at these things. Some of the things are not unavoidable, but your manners will make a difference. I don't see any hands. I guess everybody's either feeling very good or maybe kind of shy to say something. Did y'all have a good time? Any comments? Come on. Any comments, please? I like feedback. I like to know that this was worth your hour. All right. So since we don't have any hands up, I'm going to tell you our next topic. And I also want to share something with you. Our next topic will be at the table. And we might do a visual on this one. So maybe next Sunday, because this coming Saturday we would not have any session. We would have normally had our women's retreat this coming Saturday, but due to the COVID-19, we will not be having our women's retreat. We have a powerful Women's Day. I want to do a separate video because I don't want it lost between this one, but it's going to be Saturday all day, 9 to 11 in 3 sessions, 9 to 11, and also 12 to 2 and 4 to 6, because it would have been our women's retreat conference. And in regularly every first Saturday of the month from 4 to 6 would have been our empowerment session. So we did a full Women's Day coming up on May 2nd, which is this coming Saturday. You'll see the video. I'm going to invite you. We want 100 women to have a virtual women's empowerment session. 100 women. So start getting your friends. It's a very powerful topic. You will see a separate video, but the topic is there's a mother in the hood. Oh, Jesus. Man, this thing is so rich. It's a mother in the hood. You will see and hear about some powerful mothers and some experiences. And the only thing I'm going to tell you in this video, because I want to do this separate, is no matter how it came about for you to become a mother, don't worry. There's a mother in the hood. All right. So thank you for spending your hour with me today. God bless you. I enjoy being with you. I hope you enjoy being with me too. I love you so much. God bless you. Tune in tonight at 7. We have church. Love you. God bless you. Keep the faith. Have a good one and bye-bye.